In this demo, we're going to infect a Windows 7 PC with Cerber ransomware. Windows is still the most common platform to be infected with ransomware. However, it's not exclusive. Apple's macOS, Android and Linux infections are now on the increase. So here is a virtual PC that I've set up specifically for this demo. As you can see, the PC has nothing on it really, and its desktop is almost empty. And a word of warning, do not try this on any PC you care about. I have set this VM up specifically for this demo. Never try this on your work PC or your home PC or any equipment that you really care about. I also have Microsoft Office installed on this PC, and we have a few documents over here on the desktop, such as this really important Word document, and say this budget file as well that I've created in Excel. I've also created a folder and put a copy of these same two files into that folder. Once the ransomware strikes, you'll see that the document names will change. And over on this side of the desktop, I have the malicious Word document. Yes, I've renamed it with a big warning so not to open it and just remind myself of exactly what it contains. But typically you will see these malicious documents entitled something like invoice or resume or some other generic non-threatening document name. So let's open this and have a look at what's inside. Okay, so this document looks a little bit strange the minute we open it. We see this yellow bar at the top here warning us that the document contains macros and a button to enable content. This is very similar to the warning bars that Word presents if you download a document from the internet. Obviously, the purpose of the warning bar is to make users aware that they need to take special care when opening the document, and then to consider whether or not the document is safe to proceed with using. Microsoft Word does a pretty good job nowadays at warning users about content that has originated from the internet or that contains macros. However, I would guess that most users really don't understand or don't give much consideration and click the Enable Content button in many cases. We see here there is an unusual message about the document being protected by something called Microsoft Office Security System, leading the user to think the document is protected in some way, and you need to click the Enable Content button to make this gibberish legible. We can see a whole load of gibberish that is supposed to look like a PGP message in the main body of the document. Needless to say, all this is a hoax and 100% fabricated. It's really just created to fool the user into clicking the Enable Content button. But I guess there are many people who just don't know whether this is a genuine document and just trust what the document says and click that Enable Content button. But before we click the button, let's have a deeper look at the macros that are contained in this document. If I just select View and View Macros, the macro editor comes up. And yes, we have macros in the document. And it's the Auto Open macro, which tries to run when the document is opened. So let's have a look at what's behind that. So here we are. This is the macro code to run the Cerber ransomware encryption. Now, this is real VBA code and will do something when it's run. It will encrypt your documents. Why does it look strange, you might ask? Well, the malware authors like to obfuscate the code to make it difficult for programmers to reverse engineer it, and also to help confuse antivirus and anti-malware scanning engines. If we scroll to the top, we can see that these function names don't mean anything to the person trying to reverse engineer the code, but we can also see that they are valid calls to Windows operating system APIs. Some are calling functions in kernel 32, in GDI 32, and also the user 32 libraries. We can even see the parameters are obfuscated also to make it more difficult to debug. Let's close down this code window and return to our document. And I'm going to relocate the window over here so we can see the desktop behind it. And are you ready? Let's click the button and run the ransomware macro code. When I ran this for recording, it did take several minutes to trigger, but I've cut out the waiting time for you here. And there we go. This PC is now infected with the Cerber ransomware. Have a look at our file names on the left of the desktop. There are two strange files on the desktop. These files are actually our Word and Excel files. You'll also notice that the names of them have changed. That's part of the encryption process. Every file name gets changed. Also, you'll notice that the folder name did not change. So the ransomware only infects your data files, the things that you would care most about. It leaves the operating system working so that you can pay the ransom. It also leaves other files that are not really valuable or folders that are not really valuable.
Attention. 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 Your documents, photos, databases and other important files have been encrypted. Your documents, photos, databases and other important files have been encrypted.
What you actually heard is Cerber talking to you. Yes, Cerber was quite novel in that it was the first ransomware to utilize the PC's speech API if it existed and could talk to the victim. As we go through the remaining modules in this course, we'll look at some key aspects and dissect this Cerber infection even further. We're going to look at the main entry points and how ransomware gets onto the system. We'll also look at options you have for getting one file back and recovered onto your system, and also getting all your files back, even without paying the ransom.